Hey all, Tommy Post here. Just doing a secondary video to yesterday's. Actually, I should say a replacement video. The one I did after watching it, I realized the sound was not sufficient, so this time phone's turned around the other way. What I wanted to talk about is basically tech work on your bow at home. Most of my videos are fashioned around people, viewers, myself, basically people that do things for themselves. I don't think that you have to go to a bow shop for everything. I don't even think you need to go to a bow shop for putting your own strings on. But you have to have the right tools for the job. So what I want to talk about today is just one of the basic things, and that's choosing where your knock point is. Imagine you just got a new string. I just restrung this bow just a few days ago, and I finally got around to doing my initial setup on it. So when you're making that decision, where are you going to put the string loop? Well, you have to think about a few things. For starters, my bows are PSE bows. Now, not all bows have this, but the PSE has indicators that'll tell you pretty much right where the knock point should be. And the way it does that is they put a groove right in the riser. It's just a hair above the bolt hole that you mount the rest with, or the rest to. And basically what you want to do is line up your arrow with that notch, that groove. Well, you pull out the old arrow, you knock it up, you stick it in there. It's like, oh yeah, that kind of lays in this groove, but the arrow's still crooked. Well, that's because you need to have the arrow perfectly 90 degrees from the string itself. Well, how do you do that? You could break out speed square like this. I'm in the middle of remodeling this old farmhouse, so this is a common tool for me. You could always try to lay that right on your string and look for a perfect 90 degrees off of the string, and then make little marks, to see if your arrow's there. But you don't have enough hands for it. That's where the right tool for the job comes in. In case you've never seen one of these, this is called a bow square. Bow square is one of the most popularly used tools in my kit when it comes to tech on bows. Now, this thing isn't just for setting your knock point. This thing is great for verifying your brace height. It is great for setting your initial setup for the rest itself. And that's all kinds of rests. Now, we'll start by the usage of setting your knock point. Well, as I mentioned, PSE actually has a groove right there. So it's easy for me to take this bow square, snap it right onto the string. Alright, so you can see it's just kind of snapped right onto the center serving. Center serving gives you a good indication of a range that is supposed to be in your D loop. Well, if you notice, this has a little flexible tail on it like this, and it's got little numbers on it, which is basically a scale. If you want to set your knock point a little high, you can do it mathematically, or you can set it 100% square. There's actually a little circle there that shows you right where the shaft is perfectly intersected with the string in the back. So I like to do mine perfectly square. I don't like to put an angle down on my arrows like some folks do. So once you get that locked into place, now let's pretend that the D loop's not even there. You can kind of slide this up and down your center serving until it drops into that little notch in the riser. And that, you follow it straight back, find the little indicator, back here on the green thing, become an orange too. And then you'll know. You can put a little mark right on your string that this is the center of this arrow shaft. Well, how does it help you set up your rest? Well, after you have it in place, you set your nock point, you can literally, if it's a drop rest, manually pull up on the string, and it will just barely touch the bottom of that simulated arrow shaft, the one that's on this tool. So you can actually move your rest around until it's just fitting where that arrow is supposed to be by using this square. The other thing it's got that's kind of nice is it's got a scale right down this shaft here. Shows every inch all the way back to the string. So let's say you get a crap set of strings and they're too short. You didn't realize it, you didn't have a way to properly measure them before you install them on your bow. A string that's too short, going to pull the limbs in, or the cams in closer together, basically bringing the limbs down, and then that's ultimately going to result in more brace height. So everything is geometry when it comes to a bow. And by snapping this into place, if you don't have cam marks that show you the right spot for the string, you can check your brace height with this little guy. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it right back on here. Give you a close-up view. Of what it looks like. Okay, so this is pretty much it right here. You can kind of see that I've taken a Sharpie and I've marked the two marks that indicate right where the center of this shaft is, so that when I do an initial setup, I set it right into place and I know that that's where I want my nock point if it jives with the bow itself. Well, not every bow has that notch, so sometimes you have to improvise, especially if you don't have good information. Some people recommend putting the intersection point with the arrow shaft right where the bolt hole is for the rest itself. You can do that, but if you have an opportunity to get the information from the manufacturer, that's always the way to go. They set up the geometry on these things. They want it there for a reason. That's where you should start. So that's pretty much it. Appreciate y'all joining me once again. I don't sell videos on YouTube. I'm not looking for advertisement dollars. I simply share these because I preach that anything can be done at home with basic tools, and you shouldn't be afraid to do the tech work on your own bow. If you have any comments, questions, anything you want to go over whatsoever, leave them down below in the comments. And for now, happy shooting.